What's up, YouTube? I know it's been, Jesus, how fucking long has it been? What, 7 months now since I've actually made a video? Last time I made a video, I think, was in February, March. But anyway, a lot has changed, at least in my life, personal life, as well as, other things, I mean, everyone knows everything going on in the world, but anyway, that's besides the point. I've since moved, other things, gotten a job, stuff like that. And I recently started getting interested in investing in a few Germanic medals, meaning iron crosses, wound badges from World War I. I'm more interested in World War I stuff than World War II because I already have a few World War II medals. And, I mean, again, the current political climate, I really don't want to, have a bunch of framed World War II, like Iron Cross stuff, or, like a armband, or, what have you. I mean, I don't, I really don't have any use for that type of stuff. But World War I, I'm more interested in because they're a little bit, in my opinion, higher quality than World War II, only in the fact that they were all hand done. Now, I mean, wound badges were, I'm not exactly sure if they were hand done. I know they were stamped versus milled out of like a solid sheet, but I don't know if they were done by hand. But iron crosses, they were put together by hand on a little press back, in Germany in 1915, 16, 17, 18, in that era. But anyway, so this medal that I have here that I want to show you now, I'm hoping this won't be too long of a video, maybe only 5 or 6 minutes, so I kind of got to make this kind of short and sweet, is a World War I brass black wound badge in black. As you can see now, what I liked about this one is I purchased this was an eBay purchase, well, not really purchase, it was a bid, and the starting bid was like, I think, $25, and I decided to bid $30 just for the hell of it, and I won this medal. Now, another interesting thing about this medal is I'm pretty damn sure this medal was actually worn in the trench by whatever German was awarded this medal back 100 and some years ago, 102 to be exact, because this medal, I believe, was first instituted in March 1918, and the war ended in November 1918 with the Germans having an armistice with the Allies. So anyway, as you can see, it's tarnished, and there's wear on the helmet. Now this lighting, because it's not night, normally when I'm filming in this room, I normally film at night, but you can see how a good bit of the black paint is gone. Now, some people I've seen in the past repaint these when they get them for this cheap. I'm not going to do that just because I kind of like the patina of the black, kind of missing in areas with the brass tarnish. Now, I prefer brass ones of these medals because, like the steel versions of World War I, they're stamped out of just a thin sheet and stamped with a press back then, but the metal ones that were steel, they would rust. Now, that doesn't mean you can't find decent steel ones, but what it does mean is a lot of times if it's worn like this, there'll be surface rust instead of just surface patina or tarnish. Now, you will note there's a little scratch there. I don't know if that's an original World War I scratch. I'm guessing not. That happened during either shipping or something, but I doubt it happened during shipping because this thing was well packed when I received it. But yeah, so it was only $30. Now, normally a brass one, from what I understand, these will normally sell for about $50 on eBay, so I got pretty much $20 off, and it was, only like 25 seconds left in the bid before it ended, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do, a few dollars more than what it started at, so that way, it's very unlikely that anyone would be able to bid higher than me. But again, I'm pretty sure this would have been worn either by a Freikorps member or, which was the paramilitary group of veterans who had been discharged from the army before the Kaiser stepped down and stuff like that after they had signed the armistice, who, were pretty much protecting Germany from having a communist revolution at the time. because Russia had one, and then they were starting to spread, and the goal of the communists were to eventually take over. At least Trotsky, that's what he wanted, was to spread into Europe, and the Freikorps stopped that. So, but I'm guessing because of its tarnish and because of the wear, this was worn in a trench somewhere on one of the fronts by a German. Now, again, I'm not 100% sure. It might have been worn again by a Freikorps member who got it afterwards, because again, this would have only been worn from, again, as early as March 1918 until the end. So if it was worn in the trench, it was probably worn for a few months before the end of the war. If it was worn by a Freikorps member, then God only knows how long they wore it, because eventually they might have wound up in the SS or another after, the Weimar Republic got dissolved. But who knows? Now again, what I somewhat kind of found interesting about these brass ones, although they are my favorites, they do get bent easily. If you look at this needle, you can see how it's bent up. Now that's because this hook right here is not, some of these hooks aren't quite as curved all the way, down like that. Like there'll be a bigger gap there between the metal and the hook, so that bending won't happen, but there is a little bit of a jagged bend on the edge of this metal and right here, which I don't really mind. But anyway, I just thought this was a kind of a cool piece of history for me to obtain, especially since I'm pretty sure like 60% of my ancestry is German, and then the rest is Scandinavian and whatnot. There's a little French and English in there, but not much. Mainly Scandinavian, German. So, and some Irish as well with the English. But anyway, mostly Scandinavian, German, so I thought it would be an interesting piece of history to have in my collection. Now I also have a few other medals that are coming on their way. I'm not going to say what exactly they are, but one of them's one that I've wanted for a very long time that I haven't ever been able to afford until now. But anyway, so yeah, also how I have a case for this. This isn't the original case that this would have come in. This is just a case I obtained and I pretty much just turned into a metal case. As you can see, I took a razor knife and kind of, well, you can't really see it. There you go. And I cut out spots where this metal's pin mechanism will fit in, and it'll just rest up in there quite nicely, and then it'll just sit there. It doesn't want to move either, which is quite nice actually. But anyway, so that's it for now. Again, I want to get into some German tunics, possibly reenacting some other things, so I will eventually have a tunic to put this on, as well as some of the other medals that I'm obtaining. Now, if it's a really high dollar medal, I probably won't be putting that on a tunic for reenacting, because you lose that medal and your ass is going to be screwed out of a lot of money. Now this, again, $30, but it is 102 years old, so we'll just have to see. I might wear it, I might not. Don't really know yet. But anyway, that's just a quick video. I know it's over 8 minutes now, but just wanted to show it a little bit. And the next video will be longer because it's a more in-depth medal. But anyway,